of putting together for Substack and with the help of the team at Talking Rugby Union for YouTube, this weekly mashup from Seniormash about rugby union. I've had some really positive feedback. I've had some thumbs up, I've had some subscriptions, and I've had some likes. So thank you. I really do appreciate that. Well, what did I see this weekend? Well, two competitions that probably don't get the mainstream media support that they need. And that was the PWR semi-finals, and that was the Premiership Cup quarterfinals. Really interesting to see some of the commentary on, particularly Twitter, about how the BBC don't do live score updates for women's rugby, yet they do it for the top 14. A further point made that actually the BBC were hosting one of the semi-finals on the Sunday. Surely they could do better for women's rugby. The Premiership Cup, well, that's a really interesting competition, and different teams do approach it differently. And again, from Twitter, you can see the different approaches that fans have towards this cup. But nonetheless, it is so good to see Newcastle and Ealing Trailfinders. Really important statement of intent. But I noticed that even today, Monday, Twitter's reporting via, I think it's the Times Sport, that the Championship clubs will not be participating in the Premiership Cup next year. Really quite disappointing. So we look forward to seeing Exeter, Ealing Trailfinders, and Bath versus Newcastle Falcons. Thank you for your feedback on my efforts to explain the importance of tactical kicking in modern day professional rugby, and the box kick really has had a lot of attention since England's game against Scotland. And it's interesting that Steve Borthwick has not gone with Ben Spencer of Bath, but has actually brought in Jack Van Poortvliet. And I was intrigued that one of the many podcasts that I follow, Egg Chasers, was talking to the hang time on Van Poortvliet's box kicks, and that it's the most impressive of all the Premiership scrum halves. Might that be the reason that Borthwick's gone with Jack Van Poortvliet? We'll wait and see, but very interesting. Personally, I'm a little worried about Tom Curry. I don't think he looks fit, and I'd be disappointed if, given the size of the pool that we have for back row forwards, that Borthwick was to risk Tom Curry. I think that would be a mistake, and I think it could potentially be career ending for Tom Curry, and he certainly does not deserve that. So we'll start building up later this week about the Six Nations again, and as ever, looking forward to giving you some predictions and some players to watch. I hope that's helping you enjoy the Six Nations. Plenty of Six Nations to come, but let's get back to... And of course, any Talking Rugby Union from Seniormash wouldn't be the same without some reference to National League Rugby. And sure enough, what was I doing on Saturday? I was glued to my TV set, watching YouTube and watching at Sedge Media presenting National League One, Blackheath versus Sedgley Park Tigers. And boy, what a game. Close run thing, very close. And hats off to Sedgley Park Tigers. Really well-deserved win. And big shout out for Bob Birtwell, Tigers second row. Started watching Bob when he first came to Sedgley Park. Really enjoyed watching him in the scrum with my son Max. and he's gone on to 200 appearances for Paisley Park. Quite an achievement. Very influential player. Very, very strong second row, and was at the forefront of a great win against Blackheath. Interestingly, Blackheath are losing their coach, James Shanahan, after about 7 years' service. I first came across James Shanahan when he was coaching Old Albanians, and Sedgley Park Tigers played Old Albanians in the National 2 playoff. And Shanahan was a master tactician. Whilst on the surface you thought he was starting at fly half, there was a young guy playing that day called Max Malins. And yet, sure enough, Shanahan was putting Malins into fly half, and he absolutely dictated the game against Sedge that day and scored all the points. It was a disappointing end to Sedge's season. Dean Schofield, the Sedge Tigers coach at the time, really had, in my opinion, done a lot of analysis on Old Albanians, and there was a game plan to beat them. However, with Malins in the mix, Old Albanians didn't play the way anybody expected, and fair dues to them. They capitalised on that, and it was a great win. So I know Chris Heal from Talking Rugby Union did a very interesting interview with Maro Itoje about his time at Old Albanians. And there's no doubt that that link between Saracens and Old Albanians has been very influential. And it's great for National League Rugby. So keep your eye out for those players of the future.
And the future is what we try to look at through a different lens. National League Rugby, incredibly important to us, and you can see some good examples of social media getting behind Sale, Macclesfield, Blackheath and Leeds, Tykes. But this week, what else have I seen on social media? Well, thanks to Facebook, Twitter and their contributors, Seniormash is able to put together this review of a week in rugby, Talking Rugby Union. Good to see Johnny Matthews still in the limelight, albeit Gregor Townsend doesn't quite see it that way. Plenty of news about the Premiership Cup. Good to see Charlie Beckett back at Sale Sharks. Interested to watch Spanish TV and see live coverage of different games across the weekend. And a big thumbs up to Rory McConaughey and Freddie Clark for their role with the RPA. Two guys that were great supporters of Red Panda Sevens and Talking Rugby Union. And they've done a tremendous amount for the sport, and we continue to shout the two of them out. So, I am Seniormash. I do thoroughly appreciate your support, and you can find this on Substack, YouTube and Spotify. Put comments in. It's 26 weeks. There's a lot of thanks to Talking Rugby Union, Twitter, Guinness Six Nations for allowing this to work well. So, thanks, over and out.